afternoon, everyone. I wish to convey this to you. Can you please keep your audio and video on mute throughout the session? While logging into the Zoom call, please ensure that your name matches with the response on the registration form. The camera of all the attendees can be switched on once the session begins. We encourage you to participate actively in the session. We have amended our policy of keeping attendees on mute. You shall be invited for an engaging discussion with the speaker. We shall also be keeping the meeting active for a duration of 5 minutes after the session is over. Please take this opportunity to engage in fellowship during this interval. Any unwarranted actions or an attempt to cause any nuisance while the Zoom meeting is on will be taken into account very seriously. The participant shall be straight away be put in the waiting room for any inappropriate actions. Repeated behavior shall force us to deny the said participant from entering the conference into further sessions.
Hello, Bhumesh.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you, sir?
Very well.
So, sir, let's go for the PPT test that you just said. You can share your screen. Pratyush, please allow sir to share his screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Okay. Because sometimes it doesn't work. And how do I stop sharing?
You just click on stop share button, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Great. So all set. We start in 3-4 minutes.
3 to
from
4
now?
minutes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 to 4 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I go mute them. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to this prestigious session on law and society. in Aarambh Global Rotaract Conference hosted by Rotaract Club of Noida Youth and supported by Rotaract District Organization RID 3012. It is indeed an honor for me to be a moderator for this session. The initiative of Rotary International to eradicate polio is an earnest step to make the world a safer and a better place. Over the course of 30 years, they have been able to immunize more than 2.5 billion children in 122 countries. We are now this close to ending polio. We at Rotaract Club of Noida Youth take immense pride to be associated with this campaign. You too can be a part of this awe-inspiring campaign via donations. The details for the same are mentioned in the chat box below and are also available on our website, rotaractclubofnoidayouth.org. Furthermore, I request you all to keep sending your questions via the chat box. All the questions will be taken up together at the end of the session. For this session, we have invited a dynamic personality, Rotarian Bhumesh Verma Advocate. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our esteemed speaker. Sir is a managing partner at Corpcom Legal. Currently, he is ranked amongst the top 100 Indian corporate lawyers by Indian Business Law Journal. Sir is also a visiting faculty in law colleges and on online education portals too. So it is an honor for us to have you here. Coming to the topic of our session, the two most important tenets of civilization include the subject of law and that of a society. They both coexist. You need a law for proper functioning of the society and a society on whom the law can be implemented. To enrich our understanding on this topic, I now invite Sir to commence the session.
Good noon to all. I hope I am audible and visible.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's a matter of happiness, honor, and privilege to be addressing such august gathering of very young and dynamic people from all over the world. I thank all the Rotarians present here from India and even abroad. Ijoma Pearl Okoro, I think, is amongst us. All the Rotaractors who actually made this mammoth event possible with their unrelenting efforts, the organizing committee, Varda Sardana for her involvement and engagement and all the steps that the OC has taken. I mean, I know few names, Sajal, Samarth, Amira, Mahika, Vartika, Rishabh, and not to forget Karan. And please forgive me if I'm missing a few more important names, but all of you have done, I would say, a stupendous job to organize this all. An event of this scale and size is sort of unprecedented as far as Rotaract clubs are concerned. So please accept my heartiest compliments for organizing such an event for exchange of ideas and thoughts. Special thanks also to Rotarian Nischal Dubey ji. You are the superstar of our district. Everyone knows you and acknowledges your efforts in bringing all of this all together. Karan also asked me to acknowledge Rotarian DP Goelji. I don't know if he's joined today's meeting. He happens to be one of our senior most Rotarians in the district. My fellow Rotarians and Rotaractors, I'm not sure Mukesh ji, I can see Mukesh ji also, Mukesh Gupta ji, and a few other Rotarians from my own club. Please forgive me if I miss, I can see Major Goel as well. So all of you, please acknowledge my namaskar. I'm not sure what would have the participants thought once you told them that a lawyer is going to take this 1 hour session. We lawyers have the tendency and the audacity, I must say, to go overboard. If it entails writing, if it entails speaking, and so on and so forth. So many of you may be actually scared also that will have to undergo a verbal torture for 1 hour by a practicing advocate. So I would like to assure you, I'd try not to be boring and not to be cumbersome, not to engage in some OHT, what we used to call overhead transmission in our student days. We'll try to keep our discussion interesting and engaging. And if the admins allow, please allow the participant to text their feedback and queries even in the interim, so that if something needs to be taken up urgently, we can take it up and discuss there itself. So with this, are we good to go? I'll share my screen with you. If you have any questions, we can take it up towards the end, or even in the interim. If there is something urgent which you think you cannot wait, maybe you can text. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is my screen okay? Wonderful. So we are to discuss very important intrinsic pillars of our day-to-day life, that is law and the society. We'll discuss the interplay of these two aspects in our lives, the pros and cons, the cause and effect, and how can youth be agents of change to bring about change in law and to bring about change in society. We'll discuss going forward how these are not exclusive but interdependent concepts. This all of you are very well aware of. This is the event we are a part of, organized by Rotaract Club of Noida Youth. Stupendous, humongous, tiresome effort, I must say. And this is the speaker profile. Well, I don't take chances. What if the organizers were not to introduce me? So I keep this slide ready always. So this is some brief about me, so that whatever I say you can take with a pinch of salt, that this is coming from someone who's experienced, who has seen the world, and who has worked a bit in Rotary and in the profession. Now, let us first understand a couple of concepts. What do we understand by law? What is law? What is law? Law is a system of rules, regulations, stipulations. Law prescribes what are the do's and what are the don'ts. What is permissible, what is not permissible, what you can engage in, what you cannot engage in, right? Now, you might argue that even our morals, our etiquettes, our sanskars, our paramparas, all these prescribe these things, isn't it? So what is the difference between morals, ethics, common sense, and so many other aspects which prescribe the same thing, systems or rules? do's and don'ts. What is the distinction? How do we differentiate law from other such parameters, that these are morals, these are ethics, and so on? Enforceability is the key. While our elders may prescribe morals or ethics, or sanskars, parampara, gharana, and all that, are those values enforceable? Do we always follow them? So this is the distinguishing factor. Law stipulates something which is binding, which is mandatory, which is compulsory. And if you do not do as prescribed by laws, what would happen? Admins, please allow texting by participants. It will make the discussion actually a discussion rather than a monologue or a lecture. I always prefer interactions, even if I'm in law colleges or management colleges. Let us hear from the audience as well. So please allow if participants can text. So enforcement is the key. What would happen if one were not to go by what is prescribed under law? Sanctions would follow, right? Some penalty would follow. Imprisonment may follow. So you are scared. You feel like abiding by the law, isn't it? Not because these values prescribed by law are good, but that you are scared of the penalties at times. Is it correct or not?
Yes, sir.
So laws prescribe norms of conduct, the course of conduct for citizens, for corporates, for nations, and so on and so forth. Right? So this is what we generally understand by law. And what is a society? Society basically, and don't be scared, this is not going to be a legal lecture, okay? Don't be scared. We are here to discuss. This is not about a legal opinion or a legal discourse. So non-lawyers need not be scared. What is a society? Society is an aggregate of people where many people, nations, corporate bodies. I mean, please understand that by people. When I say people, it need not mean only individuals. It can be corporate bodies, it can be partnerships, it can be societies, it can be nations, it can be different states. People who are living together, all of us are living together as individuals, as corporates, as businesses, as civil societies, isn't it? There is a feeling of community. When we have a resident welfare association, there is a community, right? A community living within a particular area, within a particular housing society, within a particular colony. So there is some common trait on the basis of which we say that this is one community. This community can be religion based, can be on language based, can be on business based, can be geographical based, and so on and so forth. This community is called a society, and each member of this society is a member of or a citizen. When it comes to nations or states, then every member is a citizen, right? So we understand what is law and what is society. Broadly, these are the parameters. Now tell me, now we come to some interesting things. Has anyone watched this movie?
No, sir.
You must watch. Note it. This is one of the 100 movies you must watch in your lifetime. Twins. You must have watched many movies with twins, isn't it?
Interesting movie. I've watched it. Yeah.
You must have watched many movies with twins, right?
Yes, sir.
How do you understand twins?
They're supposed to be identical.
They are
They're supposed to be identical in form, in behavior, in size, and everything. But this we are total
wonderful.
opposites. Danny DeVito, total opposite of Schwarzenegger.
Yes, this is what I'm trying to come to. Twins, you understand, two people born together to the same parents at the same time, and they are identical in every feature. So in all the twins movies, you would have seen one actor playing the role of twins. Two different people with absolutely same features, and confusions going around in the world on their looks, appearance, behavior, and so on and so forth, right? Even spy thrillers, we have seen Dhoom, right? With Amir Khan, double role,
Yes.
right? No one can differentiate one from the other. So this is what we understand by twins, but this is a movie which is different. Now these two people are twins. On their appearance, can you think they are twins? Can you make out they're twins? Danny DeVito
No, sir.
is the shorter one. The taller one, I think all of you would know. Who is it? Find out. So these are twins. Believe it or not, they are twins. Okay. Now law and society are twins, but they are twins like this. You understand, law is a very sophisticated thing, confined to very few people, very few legislators enacting laws, and very few lawyers, good lawyers like Bhumesh Verma, trying to implement it and enforce it in the society with the help of police officers, right? This is law. And society is the 135 crore people, or maybe we are 138 crores these days, and about 788 crore people in the world. That is society, right? Society constituted of so many people of different shades and colors and languages and localities and geographies and so on and so forth. So we don't think they are identical in any sense. Law is different and society is different. But going forward in our discussion, we will understand that these are twins. They may not look alike, but they are twins, and they are entwined all the time. We will discuss their interplay, their interdependence, and so on. So this is what law and society are. They are twins. Always remember this. They can never be decoupled from each other. We are trying to decouple our economy from some economy these days, aren't we? But law and society cannot be decoupled. We discussed about legal rules, right? Now, what are social rules? These are the rules and regulations which differentiate humans from other animals. All other animals, I don't think, have got their rules so clearly demarcated as we human beings have. And mostly these are of guiding nature, persuasive nature. If you can follow, good. If you can't, then nothing much follows beyond maybe excommunication from the society you are living in. Now, who makes these rules? Members only make these rules. Disobedience is punishable by excommunication most of the times. And broadly, these rules prescribe moral or religious standards, right? So these are social rules. As I said earlier, people don't take them very seriously because they are not binding in nature, they are not mandatory, they are not compulsory, not much penal consequences follow. You cannot be jailed and all, or you cannot be hanged. So people don't take them seriously. These are social rules. In Punjabi, we have a song, Sade apne rule, Sade apne asool, right? So it's like that. Now the purpose of law. What is the purpose of law? Law prescribes norms of conduct. How should we conduct ourselves at individual level, business level, corporate level, national level, or international level? Because law operates in all spheres of our lives, as an individual, as a business entity, as a nation, and in our interaction with international bodies and other countries. So law prescribes mandate for behavior as against custom or guidance, as we keep discussing in earlier slides. And law builds and sustains pillars of governance. How will a nation, a state, a company, a society will be governed? Like in case of corporates, do we have corporate governance guidelines or not? SEBI prescribes some corporate governance guidelines, right?
Yes.
In listing agreements. And what are the pillars of governance when it comes to government? Legislature, executive, judiciary, right? So law prescribes all these pillars. What will be the pillars and what will be their respective role in governance? Legislature will make laws, executive will implement laws, and judiciary will interpret these laws if some disputes were to come about. So all this ecosystem brings order in this society. And what is the objective of law? What is the purpose behind law? Underlying purpose is progress and development. Overall objective of law is humankind's development, progress, and maybe redressal to some extent. So this is the purpose of law. This is why we need laws. And what would happen if we were to disobey? We discussed social norms. Disobedience brings social sanctions, so people don't care. And in law, we say ignorance of law is no excuse. If any of you are law students, they would know. Ignorance of law, howsoever inconvenient or uncomfortable it is, you cannot afford to ignore it. If the law prescribes you to wear a face mask and go out only then in these COVID times, you have to wear a mask. You cannot say that it's not fashionable, it's not going with my dress color, my face is not visible, I'm a celebrity, I want to be seen by people, and I want to be, admired by people all the time. So I don't want to wear a face mask. Can you do it? Ignorance of law is no excuse. Avoidance of law is no excuse. Disobedience of law, you cannot simply afford. And what if there were to be no law? Then what would happen? It would be law of the jungle and survival of the fittest, right? Anyone could kill anyone. Anyone could destroy anyone. Anyone could loot anyone. How would we ensure law, order, justice? What would happen to the principles of a welfare state? How will the state take care of the underprivileged, be it women, be it children, be it disabled people, be it people from some lower castes? How would state take care of the poor? What would happen to our fundamental rights? Today we keep shouting all the time, violation of our fundamental rights at slightest of the opportunities, right? That my fundamental rights to life, liberty, and so on and so forth, these are being violated. How would I assert these rights if there were to be no fundamental rights in the Constitution? How would we ensure equality in the society? How would we bring the downtrodden up in the society if there were to be no legislation, if there were to be only moral or ethical values in the society to help the poor? But those are not enforceable. So how would we help the poor people? How would we help the uneducated people? How would we ensure equality? One, equality of treatment, that everyone should be treated equally, and equal access to opportunities, equal access to justice, equal access to voting. How would we ensure it if there were to be no laws? It is not only, that laws are made to ensure compliance with penal provisions, that you will not steal, you will not beg, you will not murder. No, law goes much beyond. As I said, law is not only for giving punishments. Law is to ensure progress and development. So you should start seeing law in this new perspective. Law is not for penalizing or punishing people. Law is a facilitatory measure. Law facilitates, law empowers, law arms you with rights and opportunities. Secularism. What would happen to secularism if there were to be no laws? How would we ensure equality of all religions? The liberty to practice any religion, the liberty to profess any religion. What would happen to socialism? Would a lawless society be an ideal state of affairs? Do you think having laws and having these inconvenience is better, or are we better off without any laws, without any rules, without any regulations? Sade apne rule, sade apne asool. Are we better off with that? So before we start even discussing laws, the correctness of laws or malice with laws, we need to understand the importance of laws. Why are laws important? Most of the common people understand law, I keep repeating, only as a penal measure, that if you do something wrong, you will be punished. This is the law. But this is not law. It happens with our profession also. People think of lawyers only when they get in trouble, when they receive some summons, when they are arrested, and so on and so forth. Mostly people think of lawyers or remember lawyers in that state of affairs and that state of mind. I think our profession comes at number 2 in the people you would never like to see in your life. First one is, of course, the police. Second one is the lawyers. But I'm a corporate practitioner. I have never been to a court in the last 25, 26 years. I keep telling that you should remember lawyers also for positive things. When you are getting into transactions, when you are getting into partnerships, when you are getting into joint ventures, when you are getting into distributorship agreements, and so on and so forth. When you are incorporating a company, when you are buying some substantial asset. So here also you should see law not only as a penal measure, but an enabling measure. It enables people to come up, to develop, to prosper, to progress. So how does it work between law and society? If laws are good, implementation is easy, people are happy, complying, everything is good, right? If people are not burdened or hassled by laws, there is no issue. On the other hand, from a regulator's perspective, if people are complying with the law, legal machinery need not get into play. The police or the judiciary need not get involved with people. If you don't jump traffic signals, traffic police will not issue a challan, right? So compliance is also good. If something is wrong, there is a redressal process. If some law is wrong, you can complain that this law is wrong. You can challenge the law. If compliance is wrong, the executives can hold you responsible and take recourse to law that this person is violating this law. What is the sanction for it? So the ecosystem is not static, is not cast in stone. It can be changed. Like GST law, if you people keep tracking, has undergone more than 1,000 changes in its short existence. Our constitution, which happens to be one of the most elaborate and comprehensive documents in terms of constitution in the world, has undergone more than 100 amendments so far. So it's not static. If you think some law is wrong, you can challenge it and change it. The legislators will be too happy to suggest changes, or the government on its own feels some law is outdated or is out of sync or is not functioning now. Effectively, it will be changed. So what is the interplay between law and society? Whatever changes keep happening in this society, whatever the society feels, it conveys it to its representatives, and that societal mindset enforces change of law. Like you have section 377. Because the society's mindset has changed, the law will change, right? On the other hand, if laws are changed, sometimes their penal nature forces the society to change its mindset. Like after independence, so many social reforms have taken place due to change in law. Untouchability, child labor, right to education, reservation, and so on and so forth. Because these laws are mandatory, as a citizen, as a corporate, you are bound to comply with them. You start imbibing these values in this society and start complying, like corporate social responsibility. Tatas and Modis and Birlas have been carrying out their humanitarian efforts for centuries without any legal requirement, isn't it? We all know that. But it was a voluntary measure. The law now has made it mandatory for specified corporates to devote 2% of their profits to CSR activities. So this will result in change of mindset, that instead of voluntary, it becomes compulsory. So you become attuned to it, that this is a part of life. 2% we have to set aside for CSR activities. So that becomes the new normal, as we say. So it can work both ways. Societal change can force change in law, and legal changes can force change in society's mindset. So this interplay is always playing between the society and laws. And there is a problem solution matrix also. Wherever there is a problem, there is a solution. You see a problem in this society in terms of women rights, the law will provide a solution. So women will be given reservation rights at panchayat level, abolition of sati, dowry, and so on. You see exploitation of children in terms of trafficking, education, employment in dangerous industries, and so on. So you would enforce the lawmakers to enact laws to bring about a change. You would see exploitation of labor at the hands of employers. You would seek lawmakers to make a change in laws. Similarly, tenants' rights, consumer rights, if any one of you have been tracking, our new Consumer Protection Act has been made effective from 20th of July 2020. Because the society is changing, consumer demands are changing, consumer expectations are changing, law has to undergo a change. Wherever there is a problem, there has to be a change in law. Slave trade has been abolished centuries back in the US, right? Ensuring voting rights for all. Devolution of powers at grassroots levels by Panchayati Raj. Rights given to minorities, rights given to prisoners. Abolition of caste system so that you cannot discriminate with anyone on the basis of his caste, creed, color, religion, and so on and so forth. Ensuring equal opportunities for all, including the disabled. Access to justice. So you have lok adalats and so on and so forth. Now courts are even turning into e-courts to ensure access to justice in these COVID times. We have been having these rigid timings of courts, vacations, and so on and so forth. In these COVID times, there are no vacations in any courts. Urgent matters are being heard through e-courts, which was unprecedented, unheard of, I would say unimaginable a year back, how the courts have taken up the cause of the litigants and started meeting on online platforms. So wherever there is a problem in the society, the law tries to provide a redressal or a change. And as we discussed in the earlier slide, these changes enforce change in the societal mindset. So it's a cause and effect, problem solution, chicken and egg, howsoever you want to put it. So this is a constant interplay between law and society. None of these can remain aloof to each other's concerns. So these are both living organisms, law and the society, both keep changing with the time. And not only they keep change themselves, they force each other to change. The day something becomes static, the society or the law, we will stop making progress. We will become a dormant society. Change is the only constant in life. So law is also a dynamic ecosystem, a living organism. It also has to undergo change. So many laws in India till date we have are of British era. The subject closest to my heart, the Contracts Act, we have of 1872, almost 150 years. The police laws, the pandemic laws, we have like centuries old laws. So many laws we have still not adopted, or we have not re-engineered them. There is a need, constant need to keep changing laws and keep deleting the obsolete laws. Now we come to the interesting part of this discussion. What is the role of youth in all this change? We are talking of change. Now you as the youth of India and the world are the agents of change. All the movements anywhere in the world, any point of time, any time in the history, all the changes have been brought about by youth. You are the present and you are the future of the world. So you have to take care of the heritage, what the earlier generation has passed on to you, good, bad, ugly, satisfactory, whatever it is. You have to retain what is good out of that. And you have to ensure a good present, what you are trying to do today. As Rotaractors, you ensure a good present, and you have to ensure that the future, what we leave for the future generations, is better than what we have today. Our parents, our forefathers may not have been so educated and so technologically advanced as we are. So the benefits, the facilities, the support, even money, what they could provide us, they did. It is our role to pass on something better to the coming generation. One, today we should live in a good atmosphere, so to say. So we have to take care of today's environment in terms of society, economy, environment, so many aspects. One, we have to take care of that, and two, we have to ensure that it becomes better in future. So what we leave behind is better than what we inherited or what we underwent through 50 years of our active life. So you have to be agents of change. How do we do it? Do you know who this gentleman was? You have to be foolish, you have to be hungry, you have to be on your toes all the time. Be inquisitive, question. Don't be a dead society, be active. Think big, think different, out of the box solutions. See what is wrong around you. What are the means and measures and resources that you need to correct it? It is not good only to keep complaining, or thinking that I'm one person, I'm too small, I don't have so much resources. How will I handle it? How will I handle it? All big steps, all big movements, all big revolutions have been brought about by small people, very few people who took it upon themselves and to change the culture, the thought process. Believe me, the change will be brought about by eccentric, not by the most intelligent ones, but most eccentric ones. Trust me. So you have to observe what is wrong around you and how can you make it better? How can you overcome this situation on your own or with someone? Don't hesitate in seeking out. I always tell my colleagues, even Rotaractors, that if you don't ask, you will not get. If you don't ask, you will not get. If Karan had not asked me, you would not be listening to this wonderful dialogues of mine. Only if you dare, you will do. So how will you do it? The way ahead is collaborative, not confrontationist. It is not good only to keep complaining. You have to collaborate with like-minded people. How do we fix this problem? And ensure change by dialogue. In legal parlance, we say, raise the quality of your argument, not your voice. It's no good only agitating through violent norms and all, just to be visible, just to have your 15 minutes of fame on TV or in print or here and there. Ensure dialogue. You collaborate with like-minded people, like-minded organization, or with the government, that this is an issue we need a fixation of. how do we ensure a change? The change has to be smooth, seamless, not disturbing. It should not disturb the ecosystem or the sentiments or the environment. You have to ensure change by collaborative approach. I give an example of a litigation and corporate practice when it comes to law. This is the most common example I give. A litigation lawyer's objective is to win a case. Always win a case. How do you win a case? You shout. You shout in the sense that you impress the judge or the arbitrator or the police officers, whosoever is on the other side. You impress upon them with your arguments. So you keep shouting, agitating in terms of your writing, in terms of your speaking, arguments, and so on and so forth. You cannot afford to think about the other party. The other party may go to hell. Your objective is to win the case. This is the litigation approach. The corporate lawyer's approach is to bring two parties together to work on a transaction, commercial transaction. You have to collaborate. You have to bring them together. You have to bridge the gaps in their understanding so that they can execute this transaction. They can perform this transaction, maybe as a joint venture, maybe as a partnership, maybe as a franchise, maybe as a license of technology, and so on and so forth. You have to ensure that these parties live together in harmony for all the times to come. So that is a collaborative approach. Similarly, with all youth movements, your approach has to be collaborative. We have to ensure a smooth transition from today to tomorrow so that all can live in harmony. The humankind, the animals, the nature, the solar system, everything has to live in harmony. Then only we will survive, right? So the approach has to be collaborative, not confrontationist. Always, you get out on the street and start shouting against the government and powers that be. No, that is not the approach. That may be one-off thing, but not all the time. So fix your approach first before you can think fixing of anything that is wrong. So how do you manage conflicts? Increase the positives and decrease the negatives. Once negatives start going down, definitely the scale will tilt in favor of positives. We will have a better society, better world to live in. We will have better environment. So you have to manage these conflicts within you, within your organization, within your society, within the world. Human life is all about managing conflicts all the times on a daily basis, isn't it? There are always two sides to a coin. So you have to see which side I have to take up today. Which side is the positive? Always try to be in the positive side. And trust me, where you are today in Rotaract and Rotary, these are the best avenues to bring about change in the society and law. You do not get any bigger or better platforms than these, because Rotary opens opportunities. The platforms, the manpower, the resources, the contacts that you have here in Rotary and Rotaract are unimaginable. You just have to seek and you will get it. Now, what do people perceive about Rotary? That Rotary is about donations, donations, donations. No. Rotary is not about making donations. It is about making difference, making a change. Rotary doesn't run on money. Rotary runs on people. People are the change makers. You donate $1 million for education. Will that do any good? You need people on the ground to disseminate knowledge. You need technology to disseminate knowledge. You need people to receive that knowledge. Only then this money will work. So never think that Rotary is only about money. I have paid money, I have donated, and my job is done. Rotary is about making a difference with your efforts, with your involvement, with your engagement, with your collaborations. Only you can make a difference. Trust me. Today's Rotaractors will be tomorrow's Rotarians, I'm sure. And you will get others as Rotarians as well, who are not Rotaractors as of today. So you are the change makers. You are going to make a change with all these positive traits and attributes we discussed. You are going to make a change, and you have to be the change you want to see in others. First, change yourself. Charity begins at home. You start changing yourself first, and no effort is small. No effort is small. All big journeys start with a small step. If already not in that mood till 12 noon today when we started discussing, start it now. If you were not in that mode, start it now. Particularly in these times, we have so many restrictions on movement of people, meetings, international travel, even domestic travel for that matter. Collaboration is going to be the key. Not only within your Rotaract club, try to see resources, seek resources, provide resources in collaboration with other Rotaract clubs. Like our club has 6 Rotaract clubs. I have requested all of them to be collaborative in all the events they are going to have for the next few months. Do not hold any individual event. Hold all the events together. All the 6 clubs should hold all the events together. So you have more people, more resources, more contacts, more speakers, bigger speakers pool. So collaborate as much as you can, particularly in these troubled times. May your tribe grow, prosper, and change the world. And the world needs more Rotaractors. The world needs more Rotarians. And people who can not only bring about donations, people who can bring about change, who can devote efforts, time. We need such like Rotaractors and Rotarians. Any questions?
Indeed, sir. You certainly gave us a very inspiring presentation, due to which we have received a number of questions, especially in our personal chats as well. Rishi and I did receive a lot of questions. So one of the major questions that we received, or a major concern that we received, was that how can we provide the redressal system to people who need it the most, or the people who face injustice the most, especially during the time of pandemic, because as you mentioned in the presentation that things have now become more online. The online proceedings are taking place, and these people do not have the resources to be online, to be present online. So what are your views on this aspect?
Well, these few months are really bad in terms of even I would say justice delivery, in the sense that the courts are able to take very few matters of very urgent nature, and most of them, not to be quoted, are of political nature, right? Otherwise, the courts have not been able to upscale their e-infrastructure as much to be, I would say, fully functional. But yes, if you see injustice in any particular community or set of people, you should take up their cause with senior lawyers who would be very happy to engage with you in these matters and bring it up with the appropriate courts. We have very conscientious lawyers amongst us who would be very keen to take up cases for such downtrodden people. I can assure you that.
Okay, sir. So this actually
So
yes,
their output is not as good because they don't work hard as we used to do 20 years, 30 years back, and so on and so forth. Their drafting is so poor, right? They say things like that. So till about 5 years back, after spending like 20 odd years in the profession, I took it upon myself to change the drafting culture in India,
okay,
right? I wrote a book on contract drafting skills, not on contract law. So that book became the textbook in all NLUs and the IIMs and IITs. I started taking workshops and boot camps in law colleges, to improve students' drafting skills. So there is no point complaining. And you know how I do it? I spend half an hour every day on writing. If you are following me on LinkedIn, you would see we have 500 odd articles so far in last 3 years. I spend half an hour in writing every day. And after this, we have, I would say, collated such a wonderful writing community from law students, professionals, academics, law academics. They are working with us, researching with us without any credit. They are happy to collaborate with us. So every change has to begin from you. Whatever you think, and this excuse of time doesn't hold good. I work very hard on 5.5, 6 days a week, and weekends I spend on guest lectures, on these online boot camps, or even if I have to travel outstation for a university, I would travel on Friday night and take 2 days workshop on Saturdays and Sundays. So I'm virtually working 7 days full time. Everyone has 24 hours. People who waste the time the most are the ones complaining about shortage of time. Trust me. Only those people complain the most. The busiest people work the most and they never complain. So the change has to begin from you. You devote some time to pro bono activities, you devote some time to writing, you devote some time to social service. You only can bring about this change.
agreed, sir. Agreed. So, sir, now on the demand of the audience, I now wish to keep the floor, keep the floor open to our audience, to our participants to ask you questions. Sir.
Good afternoon. I have one question. How can society play an active role in making law?
Well, the society acts through its elected representatives. So you already have a very good forum of Rotaractors and Rotarians, whichever legal subject you think is, lacking the attention of the legislation or enforcement. You have to form a community and make a representation. You have a very good platform, Rotary. Through Rotary, you can engage with the legislators. Or, there are so many times government issues requests for suggestions whenever it's framing some laws or rules. So you can put forward your comments always. Before any major law is enacted, the government floats such requests. So participate in that. Society, 138 crore people cannot engage in lawmaking. They have to run their houses and practices and families, right? But the educated ones have a responsibility to ensure good legal system. So they should participate in lawmaking process. I hope that answers.
Sir, sir, am I audible? Sir, I have a question. Sir, despite the evolutionary judgments of Supreme Court of India, the society has managed to avoid the law in the name of customary practices. So, what do you have to say about the law machinery scrapping out the long-lived practices of the society?
Well, it's a very, I would say, delicate issue. I mean, we cannot get into politics or religion here. But law enforcement, yes, is very much mandatory and desirable. At the same time, law has to strike a balance between customs, people's beliefs, and I would say rationality. That's a very fine line to walk on. And yes, law is trying.
Thank you, sir.
गोयल साहब नमस्कार. I think आपने बाद में ज्वाइन किया. प्लीज अनम्यूट कर दीजिए इन्हें.
हेलो.
यस गोयल साहब नमस्कार. आप थे नहीं शायद शुरू में.
नमस्कार. नमस्कार सर. नहीं, मुझे कोई ऐसा क्वेश्चन पूछना है सर. आई एम ए रोटेरियन फ्रॉम रोटरी क्लब ऑफ कौशाम्बी, but I am just interested to attend this conference of Rotaractors. Our juniors are doing very well, rather better than many of the clubs in Delhi, but I have seen. My own club is working since last about 20 years, but we had no occasion to organize such a conference as they have done now. These Rotaractors have done now. So, sir, your talk was very impressive and very important for us, and I have been listening very patiently and very minutely, because law is not my subject, but your talk has taught us many things, and I'm so grateful for your presence here, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for eloquently answering the questions posed by the audience. We would like to present a video on the polio campaign now.
You can take my presentation off now then.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.
I request the IT team to now please play the video on polio campaign. I think there's a technical glitch at the end of the IT team. you all can donate to this awe-inspiring campaign via the information and the dates mentioned in the chat box, as well as on our website. I now wish to invite Rotarian Nishchal Pandey for his words of wisdom.
Thank you, Amira. And wonderful session by Bhumesh Verma, sir. I mean, I was a little confused that I was not sure that how this will be of my liking. But let me tell you, I was there from beginning till end. Very interesting, sir. And I think very well thought from the organizing team to put you for this session. I mean, this is one area where we should focus on Rotary as well, because we can do a lot in this area as well, because we see that people seek a lot of guidance in that part of our lives, but we always lack that, and especially the people who don't have the access to the best of facilities, as Rotaractors were mentioning. And we have such great Rotarians who are examples to this fraternity, and we cannot be better blessed than that. We can always have you all when we need all those facilities with us. So this will be a great learning for us to take forward, not only for Rotaractors to plan some projects on this aspect also, but definitely whenever we have opportunity in Rotary, we should take it forward. And one suggestion, sir, I'm not sure why Rotaractors have put a very serious picture of yours. So I never saw you so much serious during whole presentation. So I think they should change that picture. So it was good to listen you. And I take this opportunity to congratulate Ijoma Pearl also. She has been recognized by Rotary International as one of the 5 top women in the world who have done tremendous work to eradicate polio. So my hearty congratulations to very dear sister and PDG Ijoma Pearl. She is always a lively person, I must say, and keep cheering us, keep motivating us, and I learn a lot from her. And she was the one who told me that, Nishal, why don't you go for Service Above Self award? I said that, dear sister Ijoma, I am still not a president of my club, only 4 or 5 years in Rotary. And do you think that I will be able to get the highest honor in this Rotary world? I don't know. She was so confident of me. She told me, no, you must apply. And I applied. First year, we had some technical fault. Second year, when we did it, it was through.
Here you are.
So she's always a blessing to us in Rotary. So Bhumesh sir, we will be in touch, and definitely I personally also I will give you a call sometime, and we'll discuss how to do some good projects together. Thank you so much, sir.
Look forward.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. I now wish to invite the ID team to play the video on the polio campaign.
This close. We are this close. This close.
We are this close to making history.
We're this close to ending polio, to making sure no child suffers from this crippling disease ever again. All we need is you.
As you all saw, we are this close to ending polio, and we need your help to bridge the gap from this to this. For donations, please check out our chat box as well as on our website. I now wish to invite Rotaractor Rishabh Gupta, who is also the event head, to say the vote of thanks and to conclude the session. Over to you, Rishabh.
Thank you so much, Amira. Good afternoon, everyone present. It is an honor for me to express my gratitude to everyone present here. I would like to thank our patrons, Rotarian Alok Gupta, District Governor RID 3012, Rotarian Nancy Barbie, past District Governor RID 7730, Rotarian Surendran Mishra, past President RID 3012, and Rotarian Dr. Nishtal Pandey, past President RID 3012, for being a guiding light. On behalf of the Rotaract Club of Noida Youth, I extend the hearty vote of thanks to Rotarian Bhumesh Verma Advocate, who spared time from his busy schedule and enlightened us all through his words. It was a privilege, sir, to have you among us. Sir, I please accept a token of appreciation from our end. Further, we are grateful to our master conference for this session, Ms. Amira Dhawan, for her efforts towards anchoring of this session. Also, my heartfelt thanks to the project chair of the video conference, Dr. Kumar Karan, for his exceptional guidance and support, without which the conference would not have been possible. I would also like to thank all the attendees for joining the session. Thank you for all the lovely questions. You were a great audience. So we come to the end of the session. It was a great pleasure to host you this afternoon. See you in the following sessions. Have a great day.
And we look forward to see you all in the evening sessions. We have interesting sessions lined up with our RI director, with RI president-elect, and many more. So be there with us whenever you get time to. Thank you.
Indeed, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhumesh, sir. Thank you, PTGI Joma. See you in the evening. Thank you, DP Goyal, sir. We would like to have you as well. So, Karan,
Yes, sir.
let's see you all in the evening, huh? 4 to
Yes,
5,
sir.
huh?
Yes, sir. 4 to 5, and yes, sir.
And then onwards. And I
Yes,
have to prepare my talk as well. Vote of thanks. Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You should never ask a doctor to speak vote of thanks. Huh?
Said actually, doctors are doing so many things in this difficult times, sir. So it would be a pleasure to hear a doctor speak.
No, doctors can do the things, but they are very bad speakers. I'm not sure. Whenever I speak, I make people cry. I was a speaker at district conference last year, and when I ended up my talk, everyone was crying in the hall. So, by hearing my stories of our children.
Yes, sir, because our doctors speak with passion, and that is why the passion is just reflected all the time, sir.
So I am hopeful that I will come up with some good talk in the
Surely,
evening.
sir. Surely, sir.
Anything else?
No, sir. So, we'll just leave the floor open for fellowships.
Yes.
So, anyone who would want to talk or maybe discuss anything about the project, or invite any other club for any collaborations, can please do so. And do not miss out the opportunity to talk to Dr. Nishtal Pandey. He has spared his time and he's there with you now. So if you guys have any questions about Rotary or Rotaract, feel free to talk to Dr. Nishtal Pandey. So the floor is open. All of you can just feel free. And let me tell you all that like hearing Dr. Nishtal speak is such a big asset for all of us. I have been hearing him speak since almost over a month now, and every time he speaks to me, I have got something new to learn. So please don't miss out upon this opportunity, and please do speak to Dr. Nishtal. Over to everyone.
Thank you, Karan.
So we hope you enjoyed the session.
Yes. As Rotarian DP Goyal was telling, that you people are amazing when it comes to organizing any event, and technology part is definitely strong with Rotaractors. So lot to learn for Rotarians, as Rotarian DP Goyal, our senior Rotarian, was telling.